it was literally, it was such a well thought out commentary on Black people's relationship with religion and how, like, I think one of the most poignant scenes of the movie is the final scene where Sammy drives home to the church with the guitar broken in half, slashes on his face, bloody, looks like he's about to die. He just saw the devil, literally. And his father could give a shit. His father, the priest could give a fucking damn. Sammy, come to the Lord and confess your love for Jesus Christ in front of the whole congregation. And I'm like, damn, Pops. I think I walked away from the movie, specifically the themes that you're talking about. We, talking about religion and all the things. No pun intended, but salvation is not black and white. Woo-hoo! And I feel like that is
so much of what I feel like the resistance to this film is from a Christian standpoint is just like it's an ego death. Like you said, you gotta really be you gotta for real. You gotta confront that shit in a way that's really intense and dealing with where that shit came from, where like that religion came from, and how you feel about that. I think has been. I mean, there were even moments in the movie where I was like, "All right, bro." Like he came with it. Like in the opening sequence, he juxtaposes the dad with the vampire, like it pops in, pops out like 3 or 4 times, and you're like, "Yo, it's like he's like, come here,
I forgot about that. Boom. Talking about the dispositions of like vampirism and religion, and like we at the end of the movie when motherfucking Sammy is reciting the Bible verses, the vampire starts saying it too. This is so diabolical. He was like, they did the same. They ran the same playbook on me, bro. When the British came and colonized the Irish. You know what I'm saying? They use religion to remove the indigenous, you know what I'm saying, aspects of the society away from them, to wash it over and replace it with the values of the colonizer. You know what I'm saying?
I think for me, my biggest takeaway was the exploration of freedom, especially freedom in regards to the church. And how
I was so excited for that to talk to you about that, but go continue, please.
You know what I mean? I think the setup in the beginning is really interesting because in the opening, I'm about to go see it the 3rd time too. In the opening, it's so fucking good. They talk about how music not only opens you up to connecting with like your ancestors and connecting deeply to spirituality, but also to like some dark things. And the first time I really did kind of connect that a little more literally, but when we look at the sort of freedom or what happens when we sort of experience freedom, I think it really is just the freedom for those things to show up. Like when we're in a sort of state of attachment, non-freedom, when you're locked down, you kind of have this way where you're essentially trying to control your life so that only good things happen. There's a lot of attachment. That's a lot of what the church is supposed to, or is quote unquote trying to bring you, this kind of energy of like, I know the right way. I'm going to give you the answers. Everything's going to be okay. You do this thing, good things will happen. In the next life, maybe not this one, but like, Jesus will save you. And we'll avoid all the bad shit. And I think really one of the most powerful aspects of this film was like, hey man, look, when you experience freedom, it don't mean that everything's gonna be like great. Like you open yourself up to the opportunity to shit. I think one of the most profound things that one of my teachers tells me all the time is like, people don't suffer like bad shit necessarily. People, as much as they suffer the good stuff, when you are free of a lot of the, like, you give somebody $1 million and they're not any different. They're like just more of all of the bad shit is still there. And so for me, the freedom that's being explored throughout Sinners is like getting that freedom. Like I'm giving you the money, I'm giving you the ability, I'm giving you all the shit to be able to do what you want to do. What are you gonna do with it from that point on? And I really do think Ryan Coogler, man, I mean, God, hit the nail on the head with the sort of vampire extractive aspect of the church. And how it creates a very sort of deeply attached space of like, I'm trying to Christians.
Don't hold back, motherfucker.
a lot of what Christianity ended up, becoming was the sort of reflection of this sort of the hyper ego, this reflection of an attachment to, moralistic right and wrong that essentially was upholding this idea of white supremacy, upholding these ideas of like, it's the opportunity for those things. Of materialistic shenanigans. And I love that Ryan Coogler is showing you that, like, art is freedom. Like art and music and all of these things are so integral to giving our people the freedom to experience life. For me, one of the biggest things that I took away was just the meditative aspect of what music does, and how when you, like, the entirety of that film like gives you the experience of that freedom within the confines of that juke joint. That juke joint is like a moment in time of like all of them, even the vampire like down the way after the movie is like, yo, like, that was the best fucking day of my life. Like but for between what does Vin Diesel say? There's a tip for between is a 10-second car. Between like stop and go for that 10 seconds, I'm free. Like we were free for that amount of time.
Free.
So you know what I'm saying? So I thought that was so brilliant.
Yeah, so we're talking about that magical ass scene where motherfuckers is like transcending time. You know what I mean? And it's like you have past and future all together in one space. Like when I seen first happen, I couldn't help but laugh. I was laughing because like it was just like they actually did it. You know what I'm saying? And I can't help but feel this is such an important message to be broadcasted. It's like an illumination of our history that connects us from the beginning to the end. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I was so happy about that. Go ahead, Andre.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, to your point. Yeah. I think that, and no pun intended, but I think this could also serve as the quote of the day. But I think I walked away from the movie, specifically the themes that you're talking about. Talking about religion and all the things. No pun intended, but salvation is not black and white. Woo-hoo! And I feel like that is how, especially I can only speak from the black. I can only speak from the black experience. I was kind of sort of raised in the church and whatnot. And I feel like growing up, we're taught, if you grow up in a black Christian household or whatever, I live in North Carolina, so I've been exposed to the Southern Baptists, stomp your feet, shake your hands, catch the Holy Ghost, all that. And I feel like when you go to church on Sundays, and it was very timely that the movie was released on Easter weekend, because I feel like so many times we're taught that our salvation is black and white, and there's nothing else, that there's no crossroads, there's no juxtaposition to it. And I feel like Ryan Coogler proved that he is smarter than I will ever be. We could sit here and talk for 5 hours, and I would never be able to put pen to paper, video to person or whatever, and really like articulate the way that he got those points across. And I know at the beginning of this episode, I talked about how there was so much discourse online, and not all of it was good, because I ran across a post today, and oh man, I forgot what account it was from, but it was from a pastor. Sometimes Instagram and TikTok will feed you shit that they think you might like. And it was a pastor who was actually talking about how much he enjoyed the movie from from a Christian perspective. However, his comment section did not enjoy the movie. And it was so many people, and I've seen it, I'm chronically online. So I've seen the TikToks, I've seen the tweets, I've seen the Instagram comment sections, diehard Christians.
It's demonic. It's a demonic movie.
I walked out of the movie. It was demonic. I can't, that it didn't sit right with my spirit. And I said, yo, did we watch the same fucking movie, bro? Because I never once in any way, shape, or form sat there and felt like, oh, wow, this is a lot. Like this is demonic, whatever. It was literally, it was such a well thought out commentary on Black people's relationship with religion, and how I think one of the most poignant scenes of the movie is the final scene where Sammy drives home to the church with the guitar broken in half, slashes on his face, bloody, looks like he's about to die. He just saw the devil, literally. And his father could give a shit. His father, the priest could give a fucking damn. Sammy, come to the Lord and confess your love for Jesus Christ in front of the whole congregation. And I'm like, damn, Pops. How are you, nigga? Like, look at me. And I feel like so many times, like, we have to, when it comes to religion, we have to put all of our shit aside to stay on the binary, straight and narrow. And there's no juxtapositions. I've seen people, talk about how, the hoodoo. I can't do that. Was what they were talking about the comment section. Annie's character, the hoodoo, the voodoo, the witchcraft, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, everything, and I'm not about to sit here and act like I am a expert on hoodoo or that. I'm not. However, as me, somebody sitting in that theater who doesn't know much about it, everything about Annie gave love, compassion, knowledge, wisdom. She was the expert in the room when it came to confront the movie. Right, she was the anchor. She was the expert when it came to the how to fight back and save our lives. Our first scene with her is us seeing this hardened character in Smoke. Smoke's not all right in the head, as he should not be. But the first thing I see is Annie talking about protection and love and the ancestors and the baby we lost and everything. And that's and all the people in my life who I've come across that are very in touch with their spirituality and our ancestors and all those things, like, that's Ryan Coogler, low key. And this is something that I think that, like, diehard Christians and religious people kind of have to look in the mirror. And I think that's why they don't like watching these things, because it forces you. It forces you to really look in the fucking mirror, because the way Sammy's pops reacted, he had two scenes, the beginning of the movie and the end. The way his pops reacted is how they react in real life. Like, they don't want to, they don't give a shit. And I was very, I've had my own, religious deconstruction journey. I think, it really, I lost my brother in 2018. That's it right there. And I've been, just religion, deconstruction, dealing with all of that over, the course of the last 7 years. And when you talk to, if I was to have a sit down with a super religious pastor or whatever about it, I feel like they would kind of talk to me in the same way that Sammy's pops talked to him, at the end. And so I really, truly resonated with that part, because it was truthful. It was honest. You know what I'm saying? Ryan Coogler, he didn't put the satanic Star David or whatever in the movie. He didn't say hail Satan. He didn't say any of that. He just gave a realistic look, a commentary onto just really what it is. He didn't say anything. I didn't feel like Christianity was downed. I didn't feel like it was put down. I didn't feel like it was none of that. I felt like it was a truly honest. It was an honest critique.
And I think that it's like two things. First of all, that's kind of predatory in a way. It's like, I see that you're weak right now. This is when I'm going to try to get you over to my religion. You know what I'm saying? And that's something to be worried about, especially given the context in which many African Americans became Christians through slavery. You know what I'm saying? And I think it also kind of shows, like, how religion can be used as a tool to suppress Black authenticity. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, you think about the music. Oh, that's the devil. That's the devil. You're working with the devil. The blues is the devil. You know what I'm saying? Think about hoodoo. That's the devil. You're doing devil stuff. You know what I'm saying? But the whole time, this is like, one, music is coming from the soul. It's coming from you. It also connects you to your ancestors, right? But also, the religions that we study Black people used before slavery, before the transatlantic slave trade, look like hoodoo. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, why is it that, you know what I'm saying, that this manifests? Could the fact that white people gave us religion as a way to suppress that? Do we still have some ramifications from that now? You know what I'm saying? And what does that mean for us? Because what exactly that scene in the movie where he's like, trying to bring him to God, or he's saying that that's the devil, don't go with them. That's exactly how Christians look when they say the movie's demonic. You're doing the same thing. You're suppressing Ryan Coogler's black authentic view by saying that's demonic. It's the devil. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I feel like I was gonna say music was a character. It was its own character in the movie. And you were talking about that scene, Joshua, when you were saying like that's a scene we're gonna talk about forever. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that was that literally, I feel like music, especially in the Black experience, bro, it conveys pain. All of the music that we've created. Man. All the music we blues is us, rock and roll is us, hip hop is us, gospel music is us. The way the way it is portrayed in the mainstream, and I feel like through music is our pain, music is our heritage and
expression. You know what I'm saying?
Expression. It's really just it's an expression. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like he conveyed that part in a perfect way, and it's like you could be as religious as you want to be, but you are being dishonest. You're being intellectually dishonest if you think that scene of Sammy transcending with the ancestors, if you think that scene was anything other than what it was. You know what I'm saying? Like it was clear, like, and this we go back to the spoon feeding thing, right? We got it. Like, bro, that was it was literally, we are literally like, we don't like, I don't know about y'all, but I can't sit here and tell you exactly what part of Africa I'm from, but I can tell you that, hey, the music we have, the lineage that I have is directly tied together through something. You know what I'm saying? It's tied together. Music is part of that, bro. Music is a part of, it's no coincidence that pretty much every mainstream piece of music in America is derived from Black people, bro. It's derived from Black people. It's stolen from us. It's co-opted by us right now. Every time I see that fucking white boy Ian, that rapper who went viral on TikTok, I want to fucking spit on the ground. But
it's crazy.
Bro, like, David,
I was gonna say, like, just to your point about the binary, I think that shit is everything. Like the religious binary that shows up throughout Sinners. I think the thing that I really fucking love about this movie is the seduction of the vampires mirrors the sort of seduction of the church, and how they're like, yo, we can make all your pain go away. Everything's gonna be cool. You don't ever have to feel pain anymore, which is, I feel like, what the church promises us out the gate. And like to B's point, man, like so much of what I feel like the resistance to this film is from a Christian standpoint is just like it's an ego death. Like you said, you gotta really be you gotta for real. You gotta confront that shit in a way that's really intense, and dealing with where that shit came from, where like that religion came from, and how you feel about that, I think has been I mean, there were even moments in the movie where I was like, all right, bro, like he came with it. Like in the opening sequence, he juxtaposes the dad with the vampire, like it pops in and pops out like 3 or 4 times, and you're like, yo, it's like he's like, come here,
I forgot about that.
It, boom, and like, whoa, all right, like it's not subtle, but
no, not at all. But I actually forgot about that. That's crazy. That juxtaposition of religion and vampirism, they're both wanting something from him. Sammy, come to us. Give me your power. Let me use your musical voice to help my own needs. The vampire wanted to connect with his ancestors. His dad wanted to big up the church. Use your music to uplift the church. You know what I'm saying? Damn, you just connected that in real time.
And vampirism is literally it's identical to, it's like the identical manifestation of the ego. We've talked about this before on the show, but like it's literally what it is a it promises you certainty, right? The uncertainty of your life is like, I don't know if I'm gonna live. I don't know. I got you. You're gonna live forever. Well, I don't know if I'll be strong enough. I got you. You're gonna be strong. You're gonna have all these things. Everything's gonna be great. I'm gonna promise you this. No pain, bro. Like, I'm gonna give you that amount of certainty. And so, but the thing is, the ego is certainty itself, right? The ego itself, our self, is to create a sense of certainty in the world. And so when we interpret Christianity from that sort of egoic perspective, we interpret it from this like idea that everything is certain, everything is going to be okay. And so many of us have a tough time when we are taught this sort of black and white idealistic way of moving into the world, and then we're met with uncertainty and we're unable to deal with it, except for like, I don't know, Jesus will fix it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, maybe I'll become a vampire and that'll fix it. You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just a position, heaven and earth or heaven and hell. You know what I mean? Pick one. You know what I'm saying? Binary, black and white. You know what I'm saying? Man, that's profound. And I'm just thinking about this idea of like eliminating pain that religion and both vampirism offer. And then you have in the middle like the usage of music, like Andre talked about. There's a scene in the movie where Slim, he says, literally, they did everything they could. They gave us that religion, but they couldn't take the blues from us. They couldn't take this from us. And then we see that translation of pain into music in the movie. You know what I mean? When he's driving past what is it called? The motherfuckers working on the slave chain or whatever.
That was a convict leasing program.
Yeah, convict leasing program. That's the most governmental way to say that is a history buff if I ever heard one.
That's what it was.
Wow.
To that point though, I was gonna think chain gang. That's what I was thinking of. But
that's what it was too. Yeah. And in that moment, he was like, he was talking about his problem. They hung one of his friends. They took his manhood, and he was like, and he just started. Humming.
He started singing from that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so that was improvised too.
Yeah.
Really
that's beautiful. Oh my God, that's so beautiful. Because it shows you what we do with our pain. There's these two options: operate no pain, and we are here transforming into our pain into something beautiful. You know what I'm saying?
Delroy Lindo did an interview, and that's what did I say at the beginning? We had a real fucking rollout. Delroy Lindo, he did an interview. I forgot when it was, but it was an interview that came from the rollout.
Delroy Lindo was the guy who played Slim, right?
Yeah, he played Delta Slim. And he said that that scene in the car, that monologue in specific that he gave, Ryan Coogler and the production staff, they were going to cut that scene. They were going to cut it completely. But remember, his humming and his his pain that he gave, which made the scene so powerful, that was improvised. That wasn't in the script. So he said that he went to Ryan Coogler and said, "You can't cut this scene. You cannot cut that monologue because like it's important. It gives so much depth to not only Delta Slim's character." But that really was kind of like the ushering in of like the importance of music in the movie. And so he said that when he did the scene, Miles Caton and Michael B. Jordan, who was Stack at the time, they were in the car, Sammy in the back, Stack in the front. And of course, Miles had no idea how to respond. So, but Michael B. Jordan, seasoned actor, on the way to GOAT status, low key. But he when he says, Stack says, "You got that guitar, like, come on, do something with it." That was all improvised. That wasn't supposed to happen. Because if you go back and look, Sammy is kind of sitting there like, true, yeah. Like he's not supposed, like he did that, and then said the scene ends with Sammy about to strum the guitar. And so that was just, first of all, Delroy Lindo, fucking GOAT. I will be campaigning this winter and fall for him to best supporting actor, in a movie or whatever for the Oscars or whatever. But that scene was fully 100% improvised. That was a acting masterclass. Black pain. That's what it looks like. Because and it was so, when he did it and I was in the theater the first time, I was like, that's my grandma. Like, that's my grandmother. That's literally my grandmother, my grandfather. Like, that's what they do. That's what my great aunts, who are all 70 going on 80 right now. Both, my grandpa James, like, God rest his soul, he passed last year. That's them. That's literally like them. That's how I was like, fuck, that's so much was acting. There are probably 10 actors alive, black actors. I ain't talking about Jake Gyllenhaal and shit, but there's probably like 10 black actors alive that could do that. But what Delroy Lindo did in that scene,
I mean, the monologue, just from
the monologue,
I was like, bro, like monologues are fucking hard.
So Go ahead. What you say?
No, I'm saying monologues are fucking hard. Like, they're not easy, but the fact that he delivered that with such like crazy. Did you catch on like I didn't catch the second watch, but like the sound underneath that was the sound of what the story he was telling.
Yeah,
like they had the sound of lynching, and they put it underneath. I was like, bro,
you could hear the rope, like when you stretch rope, it makes that like weird rope sound. You can hear that. You can hear that, and what he was what he was describing was like the a common experience at that time. Like if you really think about it, I'm assuming Delta Slim, he says when they're at the train station that he was like, I got about 10 good years left. I got 10 years left. Like, I'm assuming, one, the life expectancy for Black men in specific was not very long back then, especially. But I'm assuming he's Delroy Lindo in real life is 73. So I'm going to pretend Delta Slim was 73. And if you look at it, 32 minus 73 is 1859 is when he was born. So Delta Slim was probably a slave. His mother was probably a slave. He lived for 6-ish years while slavery was still alive in the South. And then, he's, the story he told was the story of how so many Black men were killed after slavery. He was talking about they got arrested for vagrancy laws. And for people who are listening who don't know what that is, basically when we were freed in 1865, quote unquote, we were freed. They needed, we cotton was king. We had to replace cotton. So we were going to arrest Black men, specifically Black men, any way we can. Oh, what are you doing, boy? You don't got an ID? I was on a plantation last week, bitch. Why the fuck would I have an ID? Oh, you don't have an ID? All right, to prison. Oh, you're not in school, bitch. You wouldn't let me read. You didn't teach you how to read. Prison. You know what I'm saying? So we're putting them in prison, and then we're having the former slave masters who don't have slaves anymore are coming to these prisons. And they're leasing out convicts to come do the same work that they were just doing when slavery. And now it's like, oh, I can kill you if you look at me wrong while you're working on my plantation. I'll just go get another one. They're arresting y'all by the fucking boatload. I'll just go get another one. So, and it's crazy because Delta Slim seeing those guys on the side of the road in 1932, almost, 70 years since slavery was abolished, the same shit is happening to them. He told a story of how he was arrested for vagrancy laws. We're seeing a clear prison chain gang convict leasing program. We're seeing that all manifested itself. And that goes back to Ryan Coogler is smarter than I will ever be, because he was able it just took me fucking 15 minutes to explain all that. And that scene was how long?
30 seconds?
90 seconds? Not like if you really go back and look, and I'm gonna go, and that's the type of shit the third viewing is for. Now I'm not going to watch the movie again. I'm going to see like, wow, why did Ryan Coogler do that? I see how he did that. Like I'm watching that scene under a completely different lens the next time that I go. Like, just the way you get the same thing with the Native Americans and how my homeboy was like, where did they come from? Nigga, Ryan Coogler kind of told us what the Native Americans was on in 90 seconds? Like Native Americans should be the most respected demographic in this country if we keep it in a stack. They in touch with the land. This is their shit, nigga. They're in touch with the land. They would know if it's some evil shit afoot and how to kill it and how to hunt it down. You know what I'm saying? And Ryan Coogler and that Native American troop, it was 7 of them, 6 of them. I could see 2 of them spoke. The man at the door and then one of them on the carriage, and the carriage dude was like, "Hey, my boy, we got to go.
Let's go."
And you could see the tight knitness of what Native American tribes are like. You could understand they're an expert in this. They're spiritual. They understand that, hey, we just saw a Caucasian man fall from the sky with 3rd-degree well-done steak burns on his back. And the Native Americans are experts in that. They're experts in discernment. They're experts in spirituality, experts in the land. Ryan Coogler conveyed that in 90 fucking seconds.
He did.
Like that, bro.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And that's what you really got to appreciate about the film, because there's so much reverence for the indigeneity of Black people. The I can't even say that twice. Indigeneity of Native Americans. You know what I mean? There's a reverence appreciation for hoodoo, and there's a juxtaposition of like, hey, this shit that we've been doing, this shit that's been affecting us, that's not from us, it's not as good as we think it is, you know. And it's important for Black people to take a second look at that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's that's so important. You know what I'm saying? Especially when we look at like talking about the juxtapositions of like vampirism and religion, and like we at the end of the movie when motherfucking Sammy is reciting the Bible verses, the vampire starts saying it too. This is so diabolical. He was like, yeah, they did the same. They ran the same playbook on me, bro. When the British came and colonized the Irish, you know what I'm saying? They used religion to remove the indigenous, you know what I'm saying, aspects of the society away from them, to wash it over and replace it with the values of the colonizer. You know what I'm saying? So now it begs the question: is like, how are Black people going to navigate removing from us, the values of the colonizer, and in place usurping something that is more authentic and original to us, from us, by us. Some real FUBU shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, facts.
I love that line.